As you can see, we're very professional here at the Alliance Blog. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Alliance Blog podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the United Wrestling Network and the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and I'm very happy to be speaking to the one, the only Fallah Bahh, who's joining us today, all the way out there on the East Coast. We're out here on the West Coast. We're doing the cross-country podcast here. And first and foremost, right before we got on the air, you and I were briefly talking, and I wanted to say how cool it is to see how far your career has come since the days of NWA On Fire.
Wow.
You and Macau as the Warriors. Makua, excuse me.
That's all good. All good.
3-time NWA On Fire tag team champions. And I was a huge fan back in the day of NWA On Fire. The Savoldis, of course, are almost like a wrestling royalty in Puerto Rico and in the East Coast. And you got to work with that family. And I, as the NWA fan, I get very excited thinking about those times because I was following, I was podcasting, I was blogging about the NWA all the way back then. And I'm just curious, like, how was working in that environment with the Savoldi family and working for On Fire?
It was awesome, and it was for me. It was something totally new. By the way, thank you for having me, Jay. I just never got a chance to say that, but it was one of the first places that gave me and Makua an opportunity. Like we were put together, and this was our first chance to wrestle. Not only for places up in the New England area like Maine, but like wrestle for television. You know what I mean? It was it was like a great learning experience, and it was it was just cool to like wrestle the people there. I got to wrestle. I had a feud with like good friends like Justin Carino, Danny DeMonto. The Players Club. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah.
We had wars with the Logan brothers. Man, it was a great opportunity to wrestle like different tag teams and wrestle for television at that.
Absolutely, and I guess that kind of begs the question, because you said this was the first opportunity that you had to be on television, but how long was it? How long have you been in the business before getting the opportunity to be put together as that tag team for On Fire?
So I want to say maybe 3 to 4 years.
Wow.
I want to say started 2006, and I want to say started doing stuff for NWA On Fire maybe 2007, 2000. Well, yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 years. Actually, I'm sorry, I get too many get hits in the head too much, But So it was very, very, like maybe 2 or 3 years, and it was cool to be part of.
That's awesome, and I guess my seat is sinking on me here. Excuse me.
It's all good.
I'm slowly fading out of the screen. I know I could have looked this up, but where did you train? Where did you train to become a wrestler?
So I trained at in West Patterson, New Jersey, at the time, for IWF. The head trainer was Kevin Knight, but I learned under people like Sean Donovan, Fred Sampson, Darren Young now, but at that time it was Fred Sampson. And at that time he was a wrestler, but his name is Dan Amphibio. He's a ref.
Okay.
for WWE now, but I learned like to wrestle under him because at that time he was a wrestler. Also like Sean Bennett, he was a ref over there too. But I learned under a lot of those guys, and like, they taught me how to present myself in the independents.
And I mean, I know there's a huge difference between wrestling on the independents and then wrestling for
Mhm.
TV. Was it a hard transition for you to go from working on the independent scene to working on television?
So it had okay. So a lot of people like would probably start wrestling on television within their like fifth or sixth year. I didn't start. I didn't actually get signed to Impact until my maybe 10th or 11th year.
Right.
So like I was already like seasoned. The transition wasn't that bad. It was because I've been so experienced and wrestled so many different. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
experience from NWA on Fire, I learned and I applied it to the stuff in Impact. You know what I mean?
For
Learning
sure.
how to wrestle in front of the hard camera. You know what I mean? There's little things that like eh, you know like wrestling in so many different places. Like I already like had learned and it was already part of me, so it wasn't that much of a transition.
Going back to the On Fire days, like how hands on were the Savoldi brothers, the Savoldi family? I know, I know Mario was not as active as he was. I know his son did a lot of the promoting for them.
Oh,
And
so we were at the early years of NWA on Fire,
okay,
like me. So like his like Mario was still in it, so I got to
okay,
like pick his brain, and then Tommy too, Tommy Savoldi. Like I got to, yeah, man, he was a character, but I got to learn under those guys. You know, it was very hands on, and then it wasn't until a little bit later that his son jumped in as well, and he was he has a lot of knowledge too. I learned a lot from him as well, but like I the big part of my time there was straight up all Mario and Tommy.
oh wow. Do you have
Yeah.
a fun Tommy story? Because I've heard he is such a character. Like I never, obviously, never got a chance to meet him, but
No,
uh,
there was anything like crazy or anything I can really say, but like
sure, sure,
like it was always um entertaining and a pleasure to see him. He had a in that show he had a interview spot called Tommy's Corner,
right.
and he would always begin it. Is Tommy live and in living color, and like that was always a pleasure to watch, and that's always something that no matter what, like I'll always have with me. You know what I mean? Like, and
Sure.
just seeing him like interview different characters and like how he would like talk to like I don't know the Giant Pharaoh or
Right.
me and Makua or like the Players Club. You know, it's all different. It's all Tommy, but it's all in different situations, and it was always a pleasure to see that.
And
Um,
he'd always get fired up when talking to the heels too. Like you thought maybe Tommy
oh
was going
yeah,
to
of
go out to the ring
course.
and fight him because
Yeah,
he got
that's
fired up.
really him though. That's really
Yeah,
him. If you're a heel to him in like real life, that's not much from what you see on television, man.
that's great.
Yeah.
Again, never got to meet him, but
Mhm.
watching him on TV, you kind of got an idea. Like that wasn't really a gimmick for him. That's kind of who
No,
he
no, not at
was.
all. He was real. That was real life him, man. And you know what was cool? Like seeing him and then like hearing stories of him refing back in the day in like the garden and all that stuff, and
Yeah,
then like actually like this was like the infancy of YouTube. Like this was like around like year one or two of YouTube. So like I after those trips to Maine, I'd go back to Jersey and like look up if he was like ribbing me or
yeah.
telling the truth. And sure enough, like he was, you know, like he was refing those matches, man.
I mean,
You know?
it I always tell people like authenticity is what sells. I mean, at least for
Hmm.
me, anytime I
Yes,
see someone who's authentically themselves, like you captivate me right away.
yes,
And
most definitely.
Tommy was very authentic. At least
Yeah.
that's my perception, anyways.
Hmm.
Let's go back in the Wayback Machine a little bit further to a young Fallah Bahh who was perhaps trying to decide what he wanted to do as a little boy. what directed you to pro wrestling? What got you into it? What hooked you? What bit you and made you want to become a pro wrestler?
So the defining moment was WrestleMania 7.
Okay.
So I don't know. So do you remember that the whole theme of that main event?
I'm drawing a blank right now. I think
So
WrestleMania 6 was
Hogan Warrior.
Hogan Warrior, and I remember that one. And then WrestleMania 7, I don't remember who was after that.
Hogan Slaughter, the Iraqi sympathizer.
That's right, and it was
So,
in LA actually.
But I was a child. I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And like that same week, my cousin would rib me, like my older cousin, and he would say the war that was happening was gonna happen in Belleville, New Jersey, and like I couldn't sleep for a week. You know what I mean? It was traumatic how much he would rib me and just scare me. You know what I mean? I had nightmares every night, and then I guess my mom, my family always watched wrestling. So like they had the pay-per-view on, and I guess because they knew I wasn't going to sleep, they just came like, "Hey, come watch the pay-per-view with us." And like that whole night was about Hogan saving us from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein, you know, and like it clicked. I was like, "Oh my God." Like I truly believe Hogan like did that for the US. You know what I mean? And like I just got obsessed. I wouldn't necessarily say I wanted to wrestle, but I it started my obsession. It started my addiction to pro wrestling.
And so
then
that was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. And then like everything that I've watched as a kid, it would stop from like that one day, right? Like a cartoon would end, and then that's the end of the story. But like with wrestling, it wasn't. It was a continuous story every week. There was something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I was obsessed, man. And it was the only thing that like when I was a kid, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed ADHD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I was running all over the place, and like that was the only thing my mom would put that let me sit in the living room and just chill out. So like she fed into my obsession and just put in wrestling. You know what I mean? And like every weekend it was wrestling. That's you know, yeah.
I remember being a kid too, and I was a little bit older. I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember I was watching WrestleMania. We didn't see WrestleMania 1, but we watched like WrestleMania 2 all the way to like WrestleMania 12, like every single WWE pay-per-view, every single NWA WCW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I always thought my mom was just the coolest, like, oh, she's putting on wrestling for us, but I didn't know that my mom and her dad used to go to wrestling shows when she was a little girl at the Grand Olympic Auditorium. So like I find this out years later, and I'm like, all this time I thought mom was doing that for us. No, she was into it. She was digging it.
You want to hear something crazy with my mom? Okay, yeah. So when my mom was pregnant with me, she was in the Philippines. She came to the US like I was born here. She came to the US, and you know, I was born here, but like while she was pregnant, she saw a wrestling show in the Arena Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
Andre the Giant was headlining.
That's
and I
awesome.
think he was teaming up or going against Stan Hansen.
Wow.
But my mom my mom was a fan, but was like she wasn't a fan like me where I had to look up stats, names, you know what I mean? All this other stuff. She saw Andre the Giant, she saw the draw.
Sure.
And she wanted to see Andre the Giant. You know what I mean? And like my mom told me like as a kid, and then until like, you know, like I was an adult, I was like, let me figure out if this is actually like the truth. And like sure enough, like 85 or 85 or 84, around the time that I would like be in the womb.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant was in a card in the Philippines and teaming up with Stan Hansen, out of all people.
That's wild.
You know?
And I don't think of the Philippines as having pro wrestling, but I you know, why wouldn't they?
But like that, it would be like such an event. That's the thing. It wasn't every it was one of those things where they knew they were going to sell out regardless, and there was television there, so people knew about like WWF. You know what I mean? It wasn't as up to date. Maybe it was a couple of weeks back or a couple of months
Sure,
back. You know what I mean?
sure,
But like, sure enough, they all knew wrestling. As a matter of fact, when I this is how I love wrestling and how like my whole life and in being a social person all came from wrestling. I don't know if you can relate. You know what I mean?
yeah,
My whenever I went to the Philippines, like I had cousins my age, right? But it was
yeah,
hard to have these conversations or bond because we like had a language barrier.
sure,
But wrestling knows no language. You feel me?
yeah, yeah.
It was always cheer for the good guys, boo the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Instant connection.
So the what got us really close, I remember the moment. It was one of the Coliseum videos. It was Brett and Owen versus the Steiner brothers. Do you
Oh,
remember
what a
that?
great match!
Do you remember that crazy match where they just it became a no contest, but they just kept on calling each other out and fighting more.
Yeah,
It was we lost our minds, right? Because it was the idea of two teams that are good guys just beating the crap out of each other, one upping each other. You know what I mean?
not only
At
are
that
they
time, they didn't have those kind of matches. You know,
right, right, for sure.
uh, but like all my cousins and me got cool because of that, and then we just kept on watching wrestling from that. Like I eventually learned the language, but like it was hard. You know?
A few years ago, I went with the NWA to Wenzhou, China, and it
Okay.
was
Wow.
yeah, it was cool. It's the first time that the 10 pounds of cold was ever defended in China. It's the first time that they've had an NWA match in China. Oh, I take that back. It's not the first time NWA was there, but it's the first time the 10 pounds of gold was defended in mainland
Yeah.
China. And they like the promoter there, Dave Marquez and Dave Lagana, who was representing the NWA, were telling the wrestlers, like, look, they don't really understand wrestling here. They know UFC, they know fighting, they know mixed martial arts. They don't know that this is a wrestling show. They don't know that you can drop kick somebody outside of the ring or hit somebody with a chair. So we're not going to do any of that. We're going to keep it as close to like their style of entertainment as we can. So the wrestling, and then as they say that, then Colt Cabana and Nick Aldis fought all outside the ring in front of the fans, and it was mayhem. But it was like such a culture shock for me because I don't think that they don't have wrestling the same way we do.
Yes.
Because they have WWE. John Cena used to go
Mhm.
over there and cut promos in Mandarin, but
Of course.
it's wild to think about. Just the people there were like, it was a spectacle to them because they had never seen that up close and personal like that.
And it was something new, right? So it was definitely like a draw, and it was I guarantee you the energy, like even though they didn't understand it, the energy was probably like through the roof because it's yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's something new and dope,
See, this is exactly the way I like to talk to talent, to wrestlers, because
Yeah.
yes, you're a superstar. You've wrestled all over the world. You've held
Yeah.
titles in different wrestling companies all over the world. But at the end of the day, you're a fan of pro wrestling.
Of
And
course.
it
Of
just
course.
talking to you, I could hear it. I could hear it in your voice, and it's like, yes, like we're people. We just connected. Like we're buddies
Yes,
now.
of course. Yeah,
Um,
and that's how it always has been. I don't know how was it in high school with you? Was it like like for me like wrestling wasn't cool, right?
Sure.
But I gravitated to the people with the wrestling shirts. You know what I mean? So like yeah, I don't know. It was like a club that wasn't official.
Let me answer that question by admitting something I don't think I've ever done on a podcast before. But in the 6th grade, I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan.
Okay.
And my mom was very supportive of my wrestling habit. She got me an airbrushed Ultimate Warrior t-shirt. And I was so proud of this thing, right? I was so proud of it. And I wore it to school and I got clowned on. And I was like, I'm never wearing that shirt again. And I never did.
It's a culture shock, right? It's a culture shock. Until something really crazy like mainstream happens in wrestling, then it's cool again, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and then the other culture shock was going to try out for wrestling, thinking like, oh, where you're gonna get in a ring and
Yes.
no, it's a circle. What? Where's the
Yes.
ropes? No ropes.
Yes. I was lucky because like one, well, actually not lucky because wrestling wasn't in my high school, but like I kind of knew because like Angle was like huge when I was, you know what I mean. So like he
Yeah.
kind of gave me the reference, you know. But yeah, man.
Good times.
Yes.
I actually made one of my dearest friends in the world. We've known each other for now like almost 30 years, but in
Mhm.
elementary school I had a Hulk Hogan book and I was reading the Hulk
Okay.
Hogan book and he came over and he's like, what's that? And I go, oh, it's Hulk Hogan. He's like, can I see it? So we sat there looking at the book together in like fourth grade, I think, and
Yes.
we're still friends to this day. So wrestling does, I think, connect people in ways that
Oh,
other
dude.
entertainment doesn't.
And it's weird because like that special group of my friends, like they like we grew apart, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like, and like I guess it's cool because I was part of wrestling. They came back
yeah,
somehow, you know what I mean? Like, and I would see them like literally like they would message me like, "Hey man, we're here," or you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's a special kind of friendship because like it's still like we all change to a certain degree, but
sure.
it's still the same person. It's still the same conversation from when you were in the 6th or 7th grade or in high school. You know?
So it sounds like in your, at least in your circle, you had a lot of people who were into wrestling. But how was it when you decided to become a wrestler? Was your family, was your circle still very supportive, or were they?
Okay, so okay, so there was about another person. Like yeah, there was two. It was two or three people that promised. We Mania 20 was like a pivotal moment of my life as well. You know what I mean? Guerrero winning the title,
Yeah, for sure.
Benoit, like that was huge, you know. And that moment, like me and like two or three other friends, like that same night, we're like, oh, we're gonna do this. This is the definite moment that we're gonna to wrestle, right? I went to Berkeley College in West Patterson,
Okay.
same town as my school. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
found out like maybe my second or third semester in college. Found out there was a wrestling school, so I like I thought I was gonna try to do both, right?
Yeah.
So like it started. Me and my friend started going to a class and then going to wrestling class. Then eventually he kind of stopped, and then I started not going to real college.
Sure.
And then I just kept on going to wrestling school, and like, yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the right path for everyone,
Of
but
course.
like, yeah, I just kind of like I got obsessed, unfortunately, or fortunately, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing at all, man. I
yeah,
mean, the wrestling and it's taken you a lot of places. I mean,
hmm
wrestle. I always get amazed when people say like, "Oh, I've wrestled here or there." Like, and I was researching a little bit and like WrestlePro Alaska. I mean,
yeah,
literally, wrestling in Alaska sounds pretty cool, but I mean, that's not even the best thing. I mean, you working with Impact again. That was a major wrestling promotion here in the United
hmm
States. Still is,
yes.
and having those opportunities to travel the world with pro wrestling, I think, is amazing. So, like, yeah, I kind of think you might have made the right decision there. You know?
I've been so blessed. It's also, I mean, I don't like like it's also given me opportunities outside of the ring. Like
Yeah.
I've gotten like opportunities acting. Like I'm working with the the league is Banana Ball, but like
Oh
I
yeah.
work for the local beach coconuts, you know, and it's a connection that I got from wrestling. So
Nice.
like the community, like to be part of this community is so fortunate. Like I'm so thankful for all the blessings that I've gotten from wrestling.
One
You know,
question that I have
sure.
from one brand to another brand, because every time I speak to a pro wrestler, it's I think you guys more than anybody else know what it's like to have a brand because it's not just you or your character,
Yeah.
your gimmick, whatever. You're representing yourself and that's your brand. And especially with the world of pro wrestling, it's hard sometimes where, like a lot of times that, some things in wrestling might make your brand look bad. Like, how do you protect your brand as a pro wrestler? How do you keep yourself from being placed in a position that might not be more favorable to you, and still, or do the job that you need to do, wrestle the way that you need to do, but still keep your brand healthy, and people still interested in seeing you?
Self-awareness. Know what you know, like know who you are and know what you want to be, and base your decisions off of that. You know, yeah, basically. I mean, and even there's like, are you talking about like winning or losing type
No,
stuff,
no, no. I
or
mean, for example, we were talking about the WWE earlier. I mean,
yeah,
there was Roman Reigns had to eat dog food at one point. They literally were
yeah,
throwing dog food in his face, and
mhm,
of course, that didn't hurt his reputation or him as a character or anything. His brand is
yeah,
more popular now than it's probably ever been.
hmm
But you have to pick and choose your battles, and some things like, was there ever any time where a situation came up and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that?
like that goes deeper than a brand. That goes to the person. You feel
Sure.
me? Like, so
Yeah.
like it's for that kind of question. It's much deeper. It's what are you willing to do as a person? You get what I'm saying?
No, I get
Because then it goes from there. Like, then that little piece of who you are is part of, like, is etched into your brand as well. You know what I mean? And then
right.
you can go forward to like what kind of like audience you want to be your brand in front of.
Yeah,
So it's much deeper. No matter what, it has to be like who you are as a person. You know?
absolutely. That's a great answer. Um, when you think about your career, and of course, it's we're talking about working with IWF, we're talking about working with the Savoldi's, all the way to WrestlePro Alaska, working with Impact, of course, working with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, all
Mhm.
these spots along the road for you. It's helped build your career. It's helped shape who you are as a pro wrestler.
Mhm.
Has there been a moment in your career where um, it's gotten to a point where, like, oh man, it's getting hard, and I don't know if I can still do what I want to do? Have those moments crept up, and if they have,
It,
how do you push them back?
it's yes and no. You know what I mean? Because there's it's peaks and valleys, right?
Always.
There's times in your life. I mean, okay, outside of fighting age, but like there's times in your life where you're you might be banged up, and there's sometimes you're a lot more healthier than you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a week ago. So like, it's also it all goes back to self-awareness and like how are you at at that very moment. You know what I mean? My moves don't necessarily define me. It's my gimmick. You know what I mean? Or my character, my brand is what defines me. So like, I would have to, if I'm not feeling too well for like the match, I would have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like I don't. It's hard with I'm with different styles, but like I personally, for me, like I don't think like a move set necessarily defines me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does.
You know?
Um the, I guess because your character has grown so much,
Yeah.
and I think, early in your career when I started watching you on Fire, I mean, you were just kind of a beast, but
Yeah.
you've added a lot of comedy to your
Yes.
wrestling
Yes.
now, and I think that's
My personality.
right. And I was gonna
um,
say, has that evolved from your personality? Was that something to make the character more who you are in real life?
it kind of went that way. Like, it wasn't necessarily like like the way my character was in my early years. Like, it really revolved around like a heel persona. You know what I mean? And like, I knew how to wrestle like a face, but like as years gone by, you have more like freedom on what you do in the ring, and like I don't know, I guess just being a savage at first that really didn't talk. Like there was the only way I could like connect with somebody without like saying words was kind of like I don't know, like it would have to like maybe make them laugh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If that makes any sense. And then
Sure.
and then I got more. I heard more reactions doing that, and I just went that way. You know, and it's for me it's more fun being yourself in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like yeah, I am making people laugh, but I'm literally laughing myself. If that makes any
No,
sense.
it
Like
does.
I'm literally having a good time.
Going back to
And
what I was saying earlier, like authenticity, man, like
yeah.
that's the most attractive thing to me and people,
Hmm.
period, because I could get if you were shoehorning yourself into something that isn't you, right? Like
Yes.
you're not
Yes.
authentically being you, and that's that's a job sometimes too that you have to play a role or a
Hmm.
character. But if you're being yourself, I think like you're gonna enjoy. At least for me,
Yeah.
like I'm doing a
Yeah.
podcast right now. My name isn't J Cal, my name is Jason, but
Yeah.
on the internet I'm J Cal, and I but it's not like any different. Like the person you're
Yeah.
speaking to right now on this podcast would be the same person you'd speak to out on the
Mhm.
street because I try to be as authentically me as I can. So
Yeah.
I understand that. Now, my question for you though is because you are a badass. Let's not sweep that under the
Yes.
rug. You're funny, but you're not a
Yes.
clown by any stretch of the
Oh
imagination.
no,
You
no. But see, here's the thing. It's all situations. You know what I mean?
right.
So like, y- I'm all fun and games, and I'll smile, right? But like when I'm angry and I'm smiling at you, it's 10 times worse. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, you know?
and I was gonna ask, how do you balance the brute and then and the comedy? Like, how do you balance being funny in the ring but also being a badass? And I guess you just answered it by
Yeah, it's all situational. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'll clown my opponent. You know what I mean? Until they piss me off, and then like I'll clown my opponent. If that makes any sense, you
No,
know?
I totally get that. Um, Tell me about the opportunity that brought you to Impact Wrestling to TNA, because obviously that was one of the bright moments for your career. I mean, again, it's a national company and it's it was on cable and it's been now it's on AMC, but they've had different outlets over the years. But tell me about what was the opportunity that took you to Impact?
So me and Mario Baccara were Monster Factory Tag Team Champions,
Okay,
and I don't know if you know around that time, the Hardy Boys were trying to get every tag belt.
yeah, yeah.
They were wrestling everywhere, right? So the week that we were there was the same week that they decided they're not going to be part of Impact.
Oh, damn.
So we were booked, but me and Mario literally came in not knowing that like we were going to be there, but not being sure what we were going to do.
Okay,
And then we've gotten a couple of matches there, and like we knew a lot of people um in that area. I mean, in the office as well. You know what I mean? Abyss. Um, uh, I knew Jeff Jarrett at the
yeah,
time through like Global Force tryouts. Um, I knew Bruce Pritchard, who was working there at that time through Reality of Wrestling,
yeah.
and Mario as well. So like we had a lot of people know who we were through prior like bookings and prior business, and it was a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And before you know it, we were both signed, and yeah, that's the story of me like being part of Impact. You know, the
that's pretty cool.
the the title defense that was supposed to happen never happened, and I got a contract out of it instead.
That's a good fallback, getting the
Yeah, you
contract,
know.
working
Yeah.
regularly.
No, but just regardless, anything can change in wrestling. So you just show up ready for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's I mean I have already been like at that time already been wrestling for 10 years, and like good, bad, or indifferent, I was ready to just do business and
Yeah,
and
for
do the best
sure.
I could. You know.
One of the things that I'm curious about is the pairing between you and TJ Perkins, both you guys being Pinoy, being those Pinoy
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
You know, I being a Southern California native, I actually got to watch TJ Perkins evolve from,
Hmm.
he was literally wrestling at the age of 16 at the
He
Impact
started out
Wrestling.
as the Pinoy boy, right?
Yeah, he was the Pinoy
Yeah.
boy. He was. They put him under a mask at one time, or he was under a mask as Pinoy boy. He came out later as TJP, but then they threw him back under a mask for Cobra 2, and then he was he had a Puma. He wrestled for
Yes.
TNA as Puma, and then later like Sadistico for Masked Warriors, and then Suicide in
Yep.
TNA Wrestling. So he's guys wear a mask all the time, but he is a talent that I've seen a lot of, and your guys' pairing was very interesting because it was a very diverse tag team where TJ is more of a technician and sometimes a high flyer. You're more of a brawler and bring the
Mhm.
power to the tag team. What was it like teaming with TJ? And did
Oh,
you?
it was a blessing. He gave me so around that time, I was just uh, a one word character. Bah
Yeah,
bah was everything in my character. I said I was Filipino. I was from the Philippines, but he gave me my voice. He made me double down and have more of my culture in my character, and like it was a great opportunity um to just change my character, and he gave me a voice. I was able to talk, you know what I mean, because of the storyline that was there, and I also had like great matches with him, us teaming against Josh Alexander, and like, bro, it was such a great time, you know.
yeah. I mean, you guys were fighting against the Decay.
Ethan Page and Ethan Page, the North, Josh Alexander and Ethan Page, you know, Decay.
One of my other favorite teams is Reno Scum. You guys were in the ring with
Oh
those guys,
yeah.
and going back to China, they were actually they went with us to China too.
Oh
They were
nice.
challenging for titles out there,
Nice.
so that was cool. But yeah, that's really cool, man. I there's a lot that I missed of TNA wrestling in some of those years, and now I'm like I got to go back and watch some of those matches because like I've always been a T.
Definitely
Well,
fun.
I can't say I was always a TJP guy. One time,
Mhm.
early in his career, I was very critical of him on a message board, and he knew it was me, and he's like, "Hey, you're the guy that talks shit." I go, "Yeah, I guess I did." He's like, "Fuck you." I'm like, "All right, man, I got it." His career obviously didn't wasn't hurt by my negative comments back in the day, but it just interesting, how one of the cool things about TNA wrestling, I think, is that they've always had a wealth of talent. Here in the United States, international guys,
Yeah.
people from all over the world, and it really kind of there was that point in time where it was a very diverse wrestling promotion, and I think that was part of the element that made it so cool.
Yeah.
Um, so with your background in comedy and in pro wrestling, do you feel like you have this unique energy that a lot of other wrestlers don't have? Like, do you? I mean, I guess that sounds kind of weird. Do you feel like you? Because there are comedy wrestlers that are like almost strictly just comedy, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but you also have that, the brute as well. In as you said, the savage. Do you feel like that's kind of unique to you, or do you feel
Oh
like?
yeah, most definitely. I feel like it's helped me stand out more, especially as a big man wrestler. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's not a lot of you know, again, I that's my first like years. That's me studying the great, big men in wrestling. And like there's very few that will make you laugh instead of making you scared of them. You know what I mean? And like yeah, I feel like that makes me different from a lot of you know
who
wrestlers in my size.
who were some of your inspirations? when you were
Yokozuna, Vader, Bigelow, um, Big Boss Man. Like we want to talk about WrestleMania 7. One of my favorite big man wrestlers as a face is Big Boss Man and Perfect. He for a man his size, doing the stuff that he did, phenomenal. You know, but yeah, man, like yeah, Vader, like it's just a lot of, you can tell when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Around like I was definitely like a 90s 80s kid. You know, by all the wrestlers that I idolized.
You said Vader, instantly the hairs on my back of my neck picked up because that was my guy. Vader was just such a badass in the ring, and even when he was a little bit past his prime, I still would have loved to see that guy wrestle. Like, he had a match.
Listen, I was very blessed to team with him once.
Oh, really?
And it wasn't an easy night for his opponents. I will say that, like, it was an honor to wrestle him, but I'm super lucky that I'm on his side and not against him for that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
sure.
Yeah, man. This was like his later years, and he's still a badass. You know, that's who he is.
Of all the places you wrestled over the years, what do you consider the most sacred grounds that you've wrestled at? What place meant the most to you to wrestle at? Like, a lot of people say Madison Square Garden is, the top of the mountain. Here in California, we used to have, the Grand Olympic Auditorium. Some people hope to go to Currican Hall. Some people want to go to Mexico City, but where has been the destination where you've wrestled and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is the mountaintop right here.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's the pinnacle. You know what I mean? I'll tell you a place that means the most to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's near and dear to my heart because, like, as a fan, as an indie fan as well, like going there as a fan and years later wrestling in that same building, the Rahway Rec Center. I say it's Bahway Rec Center. Like that. Yeah. That place gave me so many great memories as a wrestler and gave me so many great memories as a fan. You know what I mean?
That's a good answer.
Yeah, but like it's like wrestling's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So if you already said this is the best place I've ever wrestled, then like what else is there to look forward to?
That's a great point.
What I'm saying? So I'm always looking for someplace new, you know what I mean? To wrestle.
I was I don't mean to name drop or anything, but a couple weeks ago we had Cheeseburger on, and he had mentioned wrestling at the Tokyo Dome was like it.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's a pretty good one.
Of course.
But like, and then for me, not that I've wrestled, but like the 2300 Arena has very fond memories for me, and I actually got to go there to watch wrestling, and it was pretty like it felt very special, and then
you felt the spirit of wrestling, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there's memories that I feel like are etched in certain areas. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I'll like the picture of Dreamer falling from the nest down through tables from 911. You know what I mean? And like being in that same building, it's crazy. It's you know what I mean?
For sure.
I with that arena, like I walk in and I can't help think of all the stuff that I saw as a kid. I never went to an ECW show, but I was one of those kids that stayed up at 3 a.m. in hopes, you know what I mean? In hopes that, like, because there, I don't know if you remember, like there wasn't necessarily a set time
Nope.
for ECW before they got into an actual cable company. It was all these channels that were infomercials. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. No, I
So
100% do.
so if you saw it, you're like, all right, next week it's gonna be that same time, and you just showed up that same time hoping that it would be like ECW. You know what I mean? So like I remember like staying up 2 or 3 in the morning on a Saturday night waiting for ECW. You know,
Oh,
and like yeah, like a lot of those matches that I watched at 3 in the morning as a kid, like is in that building. You know.
I remember reading about ECW. I remember seeing pictures and looking at it in the magazine. And this was back before YouTube was a thing, so you'd have animated GIFs on your
Oh yeah.
MySpace page or something like that. And I remember a friend of mine. I spent the night at his house one night, and it was like you said, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're just flipping through channels. I think we were probably trying to look for pretty ladies on TV, and we came across Brian Pillman Rob Van Dam literally pushing Brian Pillman in a wheelchair. And I was like, what is this? That's Brian I know who that is. That's Flying Brian. What is going on? And he was doing that whole Rogue Horseman thing and then left, quit. I quit Booker, man. And just seeing him on that television program, and you're like, this is crazy. And like you said, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was just, you go back the next week and it wasn't necessarily on that channel at that same time. So you're like frantically trying to find it again.
Yeah, you just felt lucky that you were able to see it, right? You know?
For sure.
It blew my mind to see to see ECW for the first time. I remember I'll never forget the first match. It was Sabu and RVD versus the Eliminators.
Oh wow.
Bro, like no, but just like the move sets on all four men, and like they weren't doing anything near, like, you know what I mean, like they're leaps and bounds ahead of any tag team in wrestling at that moment. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it was crazy. I didn't understand it, but like I was hooked. You know,
100%.
And then they used real music. Do you remember that? Like when they use real music, like, bro, like I wasn't a Metallica fan until Sandman.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't like Pantera until Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
So, and again, you've had a lot of success over your career as a tag team wrestler. I know you do a lot of individual wrestling as well, and you might have already snuck in the answer, and I'm gonna just clarify because again, teaming with TJP, teaming with Vader, these are some pretty incredible names in the sport of professional wrestling. But if you had an opportunity to collaborate with any wrestler, living or dead right now, who would you want to tag team with if you could just choose one guy?
Oh, dude, I don't know. Like,
it's a tough one, isn't it?
Damn, bro. Yeah, yes. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. Like, well, it all depends on like what. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I'm sorry. Like, there's so many wrestlers out there that like I've either wanted to wrestle or team up with or just like dude, like I just want to work with everybody. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
I think that's a great way to look at it. It's just you want to work with everybody.
Maybe the next interview, I'll give me some time. In the next interview, I'll figure that out. You know what I mean? Like
we'll come up with a list. The next interview, we'll have a list, and you run down your top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and so now I'm going to segue because I thank you to Dr. Lawrence Zirconium for putting us into contact. But on the next dog event, which is coming up very, very soon, I believe it's May 2nd at Little Lake Harbor. You will be teaming with Stife to take on 2 guys you're very familiar with in Dylan Mesh and Connor Schaefer. Tell me, like, I know kind of some of your history with Dylan Mesh and Connor Schaefer. Jaden has sent me the video multiple times of you squashing Dave Dahl and Connor Schaefer over the years. Tell me about this matchup and why is it exciting for you?
I get to team up with Stife. You
There
know,
it is.
like it's anytime I get a chance to punch Schaefer and Nash in the face, like it's always a blessing. You know what I mean?
For
Come on
sure.
now. It's a I never wrestled in Egg Harbor, so it's gonna be a first.
Okay.
And yeah, man. Every time I wrestle on Dog, it's always a pleasure. You know what I
And,
mean?
a lot of people probably don't realize this, but you've had a lot of matches for Dog over the years. I mean, going back even
Yes.
as far as 2011,
Mm-hmm.
at the
Me and Biggie
Cashmere
Biggs, right?
Gentlemen's Club.
Yes, I'll never forget that. I remember, but like, it was wrestling for somebody that I looked up to, somebody that like helped me. He was an IWF guy that I learned a lot from as well.
Biggie
Biggie
Big.
Biggs. And it was cool to actually do battle with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Iron sharpens iron. You know, so like,
I love that.
what way to show what I learned by testing myself with the person that taught me. You know.
That's awesome. And again, working with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, one of the premier wrestling organizations in New Jersey. They make it a very
Mhm.
family friendly environment. And you've done the events at Rowan University.
Yes.
You were at part of the Mammoth County Fair last year.
Hmm.
You got to do a couple nights there. And of course, coming to Little Egg Harbor, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for the fans of Dangerous General Wrestling Gladiators to see yourself and hopefully to see Connor Schaefer get punched right in the face. I
Yes, or
can't wait.
sat on.
Or that'll work too. Um, let me ask you this. I saw it in the chat. Somebody said, "Do you have a pro wrestling store? Can people
No, I
buy
don't. But
Fallah Bahh merch?"
I plan on it eventually. But yeah, tell that person to message me, and I'll let him. We can do business through that.
Wrestling community, reach out to Fallah Bahh. He is on social media. You can find him on Instagram, and I
Yeah,
think
at
you're on
Fallah Bahh one.
Fallah Bahh one, and then you're on
Yeah,
X too, right?
yeah, at Follow one.
At Follow one. So there you go. Like that, get a hold of him. He will help you out. Um, and then another gentleman in the chat says, "Dude got to face Cheeseburger back in November. He was a great interview a few weeks ago."
Oh,
Did
thank
you
you.
wrestle Cheeseburger recently?
Yeah.
Back in November?
Wait. Did we? No. Wait. No, I don't think so.
Double D, I think you're confused, brother.
Yeah, it's another big Filipino.
Tell me about the Filipino culture in when you came to America, because I have friends who are
I was born in
Filipino.
America, actually.
Yeah, no, I understand that,
Yeah.
right? But your mom
Hmm.
grew up in the Philippines. Was there any kind of push to push you in a certain career field, and were they accepting of wrestling as your option, as your choice?
Okay. Okay. Everybody else in my family questioned it.
Yeah,
My mom was very supportive.
that's awesome.
I will say, like, even though she was a fan, she didn't want to see me get hurt, so she kind of
Yes.
stopped watching wrestling because like it kind of triggered her once I started wrestling. You know what I
Right.
mean? But like, um, yeah. So like, she knew like what wrestling was about for me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like the only way for me to like sit down in one place and not be the rambunctious kid that I was always was to put on some wrestling. You know what I mean? So
Now,
like, yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know. I just like I owe a lot of my support to my mom.
So, it was back in July, is what Double D was saying when in WrestlePro Newark. You were in a
Oh
triple threat match with Alex Ryman
yes,
and
yes,
Cheeseburger.
yes. That was fun. Yes. Okay. I remember that. I was like, wait, no, not November, but yeah, definitely that one. I remember that.
Um,
We were all supposed to get oxtails, but Burger just kind of went his own way. But like, yeah, there was an. I remember that match not only just to have fun with Burger and Ryman, but the oxtails.
Now, let me ask you this, because in Southern California, if I want
Hmm.
lumpia, there's a lot of options. But in New Jersey, where's the best place to get lumpia?
Listen, no matter where you are, the best place to get lumpia is somebody's aunt's house, hands down. There's a there's a restaurant called Bamboo Grill in Edgewater, New Jersey, that has really good lumpia. Fun fact: that restaurant used to be in Jersey City under another name, Manila Sunset. That was the name of my finisher, or that's the name of my finisher,
Was it based
Manila
on the
Sunset.
restaurant?
Yes, it was.
That's
Yes.
I love it, man.
Oh yeah.
My wife, she's white,
Mm-hmm.
but her stepmom used to be married to a man who was Filipino,
Okay.
and so and I forgot the word now, and I'm sure you'll know it. What do you call your grandma?
Lola.
Lola. So she has taken ownership of her stepmother's ex-husband's uh, uh, grandmother.
Okay.
And
Oh, so
so
that's
she would,
Lola.
yeah. So she would say, Lola, if I cut the carrots, will you make lumpia for me? And she's like, yeah, come on, Michelle.
Oh my god. And you know what? Like, yeah, like I said, it has to be like a relative somehow. Like that's the best. That's the best lumpia. You know. Yeah. Like it's in our nature to make sure everybody's full. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's from my understanding, it's very communal, very family
Yes.
culture, and everyone.
Mhm.
What I love about it is everyone belongs. They don't care if you're white, they don't care if you're
Of
black. You
course.
just come
Of
here,
course.
and I think that's beautiful about the culture. Not that this is a cultural podcast; we're talking about pro wrestling, but
No, but
uh,
wrestling is a culture in itself, man. You don't understand. Like you don't. Come on, dude. Like look at Mania. Like it wasn't one day. It's like 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? Like no, I'm not talking about the event. I'm talking about Vegas. Like there's wrestling all over the place, and it's like it's Christmas. You know what I mean?
it was almost a week long event. I knew
Yes.
people who got there on Wednesday and didn't come home until Tuesday morning
Yeah.
after watching Raw, and they did Joey Janela's show. They did
Mhm.
the whole Game Changer thing, and
Yeah.
then they did the local shows like Future Stars of Wrestling and everything. And it's like I have one acquaintance who did like 15 shows. Like he literally went to everything. I was, how do you do that? He
Yeah.
probably won't leave the house for the next 6 months, but he
Of
did
course.
everything while he was there. And I was like, that's awesome, man.
But,
That's cool.
but like I said, you can't not say that it's a culture. You know
No,
what I
you're
mean?
right.
It's a way of living, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm rocking a like Anita shirt. You know what I mean? It's
Nice.
literally like it's part of who I am. You know what I mean? And like yeah, man. And it's weird. Like have you ever had like a friend that talks wrestling, and then like the other person, like a new other person in the group that doesn't talk about wrestling? Our culture's so strong, they eventually like adopt our lingo, even though they don't like wrestling.
Yeah. They'll
You
say,
get
oh,
what I'm
that guy's
saying?
a jobber.
Yeah, yeah. They get it. They understand like everything that we watch without actually ever watching it because it's literally all we all talk about.
We're
You know.
we're gonna set up a part two because this was a delight and I enjoyed
Oh, I
talking to you.
appreciate it, man. Hell
And
yeah, I hope so.
it's really cool to talk to you after watching you since well, I think like 2009, 2010,
Yeah. Well,
something
yeah.
like
That's
that. But
Obama was president when you, you first saw me watch it.
for real, man. Look, I think yeah, Obama was president. So yeah, okay. But it was such a good time, man, and to see your success and your growth and the fact that you're still here smiling about pro wrestling, that makes
Mhm.
my heart happy. And I can't wait to talk to you again some more. Hopefully, maybe in a couple months we'll hook
Of
back up
course.
again because this was a
We'll just make a new podcast. It's just gonna
there
be
it is.
us. We'll call it-
Just Jay and Fa. That's it. That's what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. All right,
Uh,
brother. Well,
Thank you for having me, brother.
yeah, thank you so much for your time. May 2nd is Dangerous Journal Wrestling Gladiators, but
Mhm.
take a second to tell me where folks can see you next.
That's the next event.
Perfect. That's I
All
guess
right, buddy.
next week. So cool.
Next week, brother. All right,
Next
man.
Saturday. All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you again for hanging out. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the United Wrestling Network and the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and with me are Jaden and DKM. We are the Alliance Guys, and we are here to talk about some wrestling. What's going on, fellas? You had a long day, sir. I thought we were I thought we were live, and we are not. So let me just pull this up real quick and we'll go. I apologize. I thought I hit the live button. Sorry about that. Nope. Wait, are we live or not? What the? This is confusing. So I don't know if we're live or not. Oh, it says the Fallah Bahh interview is live. And I was talking all through that. Okay. End stream.